Okay, you can start.
Okay, sure. Thank you. So hi Diwali, I'm Amrit. We'll start with an intro of ourselves. I'm Amrit. I've been working with Amazon in India for a couple of years now. I work for a team called Amazon Data Services, and I mostly work in the backend. I've been part of SD Skills for quite some time now, and I've taken mock interviews prior here as well. Yeah, that's about myself. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, sure. So I am in San Jose, US, California,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
I'm working with Cisco. Uh, I was in startup earlier, and at Cisco I've been like for 4 years. And with
Okay.
SD skills, I joined like this year only, and have been active with the group so far. And this is going to be my first coding mock interview.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. For the purpose of this interview, we'll be asking you a couple of questions, and the expectation would be to write some production quality code, and we would evaluate uh, how you did at the end of the interview. So we'll have feedback for each other, as well as the audience would have feedback for us. And let's get started then.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I'll give you a first question, and the first question would be I'll give you two numbers. Okay. I'll give you two numbers, an N and a K. Okay. You're supposed to give me all the subsets that use numbers from 1 to 9 and that add up to n. The catch is the subset should only contain k elements. I'll repeat.
Yeah.
You should return me all the k element subsets that sum up to n. You can use numbers from 1 to 9.
Okay, okay, okay. What should k elements that sum up to n, right? So n is our
Yeah.
target sum, and the number of elements will be k in the subset.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
And the numbers you can use are from 1 to 9.
write it here so that it's more clear to me. And this will be the length of the subset.
Right.
Okay, sure.
Do you want me to give you an example, or are you coming up with one?
Yeah, I can. I mean, anything. If you have anything specific in mind, then we can start from there, or I can take an example.
Okay. Let me simplify, right? Let me give you n equal to 9. And for instance, a k is equal to maybe 3. So the answers would be 1, 3, 5, they add up to 9. 2, 4, and 3, right? 2, 3, 4 add up to 9. And what else? 1, 2, 6 add up to 9.
Okay.
This should be good.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So I can pick any number between 1 to 9 and then use that in the subset if my n is
Right.
9.
Right.
And does this, like, what are the ranges that you want to consider? Like, is there any, it should be like greater than 0, or are we like taking any negative numbers?
No, I said, right? 1 to 9. And k and n will be
Okay,
greater than or equal to 1.
um, is there any duplicate elements in this?
No,
Oh yeah,
you cannot have
we
duplicates.
like reuse one number again.
No, you cannot use one number again. A number can only be used once.
Okay, sure. Looking at this, what I can think of is like when my input is like n is 9, then I will like make an array of like 1 to 9, and
Mm,
uh, like use backtracking to like
mhm,
form the subsets. And as in when I hit like a
mhm.
target a length to k and the sum as expected, I can add it to my output and return.
Okay.
So does that
Does that
like,
cover all the subsets?
yeah, that would cover because I'll cover each of the elements
Mhm.
from left to right.
Okay,
And whenever
sure.
is like the sum is either going over 9 or length is
Mhm,
exceeding over k, then I'll backtrack.
mhm,
And if not,
mhm,
when it's as expected, we can use it in the answer.
mhm. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. What would be the expected complexity? Or do you want to say that after you write the code?
I think it will be time complexity would be exponential, like 2 raised to
Mhm,
n,
mhm,
because we are going exploring all the possibilities.
mhm. Yeah, all right. Sure. Can you get started then?
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Um, yeah, and then k I'll be taking as an input to my API.
Mhm,
And I can create an array. Um, this will be of size.
I think you should be coding on the left side.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's my bad. I'm taking like a placeholder because I am going to take like 1 to n elements. So for the array, I'm taking
Mhm,
one placeholder. Um, let's take it as a. So this will give me the array from 1 to 9 elements. And um, and then I will be calling the helper function, which will give me the result.
One question, why are you appending numbers up to n plus 1? I mean,
Because
n can be 30, for example.
sorry,
N can be 30, for example. I mean, n is not necessarily 1 to 9, right?
yeah, but I have to like use try all the numbers right from 1 to 30. So
No, you should be trying numbers only from 1 to 9.
okay, then I didn't get the question right. If n is 30,
Mhm.
then also we are using oh, like n is just a target and my array is always
Yeah,
going to be 9. Okay, okay.
yeah. Use numbers from 1 to 9 only without repetitions.
Okay, sure. And what will be this? Or I can directly write it here.
Mhm,
And I'll just write this, add this. I think it's fine. This is cool. Um,
mhm.
And then I'll call this helper function to where I'll pass this array n and k value, which will return me the output. And that will save the output in this list, which we can return. Yeah. And then I'll just define the helper function here. So in this helper function, I will iterate through, and this helper function will also take an start element because that will be used for the backtracking, like starting the next iteration after we backtrack, complete one branch. So for that, um, so we go from start to the end. This will be like we pass the array. And then every time we do this, we subtract um, that element, that number that we are using from the target, and reduce the k size to 1. Or
Right.
even k is fine. This is fine. K we can keep. And there will be one temporary list that we need to form, which can be that I need to pass it somewhere. Here, which will be empty. Yeah, so every time I am, initially it will be empty, but we are appending, we are adding the element, that number to it, every
Right.
time uh, make the try to make the target. Correct, yeah. And then every time, so this is for the helper, yeah, and this will be for the start will also be different. So this will be, I think I should add it here. This I plus 1 will be the new start after finishing that branch. So, and then this will be the breaking condition would be if length of res is equal to k, and n is equal to 0, then we append this to the output and return from there the next branch. And otherwise, if n goes to negative, or length of the like result is greater than k, then also we just simply return. Otherwise, and then if not, we are not hitting these two conditions, then we just keep on. I'll just write else for a better readability. Yeah, I think this will be, and then you're returning the output here. I'll just use a non-local so that it's a global which is used from the main function.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think this looks good as far as I can think.
Can you dry run with an example? I
Sure.
mean, you could do the same example.
Yeah. So n is equal to 9. We start from this a is going to be constant. Uh, and this initially like the helper function call will be we pass a, n is going to be 9 and k is going to be 3 and this is going to be 0 and this is going to be empty. Um,
Mhm.
let's, so initially in the call, we like these conditions won't be hitting, so we directly start from our for loop, and the for loop we the start is going to be 0, so it will go from 0 to the length of the array, which is 9, so it will be 0 to 8, which is this array indexes. And first we will do helper call, which will call, which will be calling like helper of a, n minus, it will be n minus 1. So the
Mhm.
n is 1, 9, so it will become 8. So 9 minus 1.
Mhm.
K is still, I mean, we are not changing it. So k is going to be 3. And I, my start will become 1.
Mhm.
Writing it for readability. And we are adding 1 to the result. So now result is going to be
Mhm.
1.
Mhm. All right.
And in the so it will again like not hit any of these conditions, and then
Uh-huh.
it will further call this another helper call, which will be, so a I is going to be yeah, I was 0 here. Now with I is equal to 1,
Mhm.
so when we come here, it will again start from I is equal to 0.
Okay, but your start has changed, right?
Start has changed because start is 1. So now I will be starting from 1.
Mhm.
So at this time, it will subtract. Yeah, let me just. So here I was 0 and here I is going to be 1. So at 1 index, I have 2. So I will subtract 8 minus 2 now because my
Right.
n is different here. Um, and start is going to 2 now. So again, we we call this. So here n is equal to 6 now. It won't hit any of these conditions. So it will like again trigger another function where I is going to be 2 now because start was 2. Sorry, start. Start was 2. So now start will become 3. It will call with start 3, I2, and it will subtract from 6. What is this? A of 2, which is 3. So it will become 3. Yeah, and here we had added 2.
2.
And here we'll be adding 1, 2, 3. So now that when this is called, we will hit this condition that length is equal to k.
It's greater than k, right?
Now it will not,
Okay.
but in the next iteration, we will hit where this goes beyond. So now,
Right. And that branch is done.
so now we will still go ahead and call this. Actually, we can backtrack here itself, right? Because there is no point going ahead. So if it is k, um, um, so then also we can like return. So here we can simply backtrack at this point.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So now we will start backtracking. So now we were at I is equal to 2. So the call was from I is equal to 1. So it will go back. And this I will now become 2, I think, with start as 2. With start as 3, I think, with I2 now. And we will, this was 6, so we will subtract I is equal to 6 minus 3, which is 3. So this will also like backtrack here in this condition. Oh, it was 8.
Oh, I said 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it should backtrack from line 2 and then it should do 1, 2, 4, right? I mean, line 40. The next one would be, after line 40, the next one would be adding 4 to the list, right?
From this, right? This function where we
Yeah,
came
that's what, line 40.
backtrack to this one.
Right. From here, you go to the next I, which is 4.
We had
I
done
mean,
2.
next A of I, which is 4.
We had done 2, so we will go to 3.
Yeah. No,
So
we
that,
did 3 and we backtracked from there, right?
yeah, so 6 minus 3.
Yeah, I mean, what I was trying to say is we went to 3, then we hit that condition in line 35, and then we came back to line 40 again, right?
So we had tried 1 and 2.
Yep.
One second. So yeah, we had tried 1 and 2. 1, 8 minus 2. Yeah, so we had subtracted 9 from 1 and 2 from 9.
Mhm.
So it was 6. So we come back here, and from this place we go to the next. So now it will be,
Correct.
oh yeah, I already tried 3 here, so I'll go to
Yeah,
4.
yeah, yeah, that's it.
So it will be 6 minus 4.
Right.
And here from this place, again, we will backtrack because this is not meeting the criteria. So
Right. Then you go to 1 to 5 and then 1 to 6 where you succeed.
where
Right.
we'll successful and we'll add that to the output. So, so here output will now have 1 to 6. And
Makes sense. Makes sense.
yeah.
I'm good on the dry run. Let's maybe you can just go and run that now. I'm clear on the approach and your code. You should be calling it with. You did not initialize N and K, right? Yeah.
And I should print output. Yeah. I have to call this also.
You have to call that method. Yeah.
993.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's adding 1 to 6, 135, and 234.
Yeah. Awesome. That looks really good. Can you tell me the time and space complexity for this problem after
Space
this, since you're done with the code?
Yeah, sure. Space complexity is going to be O of n because we are taking this helper stack. So it will take O of n to save this in the memory. This array is constant, so there won't be any extra space. For time complexity, it will be exponential because we are like branching out at each of the number. So with one, we will be trying like 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
It will be 2 raised to 9 in worst case.
Right. Yeah, that's right. That was good. And I think we can move to the next problem then. Right. So the next problem is I'll give you an integer array. Okay. And you're supposed to get me a triplet that gives the maximum product.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want me to give you an example or?
Yeah, you can give me the example.
Sure. So let's say I give you an array here equal to something like this, right? Here the output would be 10, 6, 5. Because this would give me the maximum product of 30 into 100, 300, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the question. I'll give you an integer array and you have to give me the triplet that gets me the maximum product.
Yeah, sure.
Or let me simplify. You can just give me the maximum product. You need not give me the triplet. You can just give me the maximum product. That is fine.
Okay. I'm just trying to think what I can do with this and what all things
Yeah.
I should consider before starting with. So to maximize the product, I will be first of all, like, do we have any zeros? I mean, what is the range of this input array that the numbers can have?
It's an integer array, so it can contain, maybe for the sake of the problem, we can assume it contains minus 10 to the power 6 to plus 10 to the power 6.
Okay. Okay, so there will be like negative numbers too in the array. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just make a note of that. Yeah, because if to get the maximum product, I'll have to like pick two numbers which are the maximum and just take the product of it. Um, And do we have to like think about it being consecutive or anything, or it can be any index?
It can be any index. You just have to pick three different elements, and their product should be the maximum.
Okay, okay. Oh, it should be three numbers, right?
Yeah, it should be three numbers. It's a triplet.
Yeah, then I think if I get like three numbers which are bigger, uh,
Mhm.
biggest numbers, and then I can just take the product of it. It will be maximum.
Mhm. Does that work for all cases?
Um, Let me see. Like it might. I'm not sure if it will work with negative numbers. For
Mhm.
positive numbers, it will work for sure.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to think what
Maybe
problem
I'll give you
negative
an
numbers.
example. Yeah, I just made that array a little different. Now, can you tell me what is the maximum product at this point?
Um, oh yeah, when we multiply two negative numbers, it will become positive. So if the in that case, I'll have to track which is my minimum numbers too. So in this case, the maximum product would be minus 20, 10, and 5. I can, yeah, so it will be these three numbers.
Mhm. Okay.
Minimum numbers are also like if there are two numbers which are negative and the product is giving maximum, then yeah, then it will be used in that product. So I think I'll have to take into consideration the maximum as well as minimum number that I'm encountering. So if there is, because the minimum numbers will cancel each other.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'll have to take like two minimum numbers and three maximum numbers, and then take the product of like first biggest maximum number with the two minimum number and three maximum numbers, and see
Mhm.
is the maximum.
Yeah, that definitely works. That is one approach that works. How would you achieve that?
I'll just simply iterate through this array left to right and
Mhm.
keep
Mhm.
tracking like uh, I'll first of all initialize like minimum and maximum to
Mhm.
some like extreme range, and then keep on comparing with whatever numbers I'm getting and update my min max and use it at the end.
But just keeping min max would help you, is it?
Yes. I mean, two minimum variables, two variables for
Uh-huh.
minimum and three variables
Uh-huh.
for max. So I'll have to update five variables as and when I go. So, like if the number is lesser than minimum one, then I'll update
Mhm.
minimum one and minimum two. And if it
Mhm.
is lesser than minimum, it is greater than minimum one, but lesser than minimum two, then I can only update minimum two in that case. And same goes for
Mhm.
maximum. But in that case, we'll compare with like max one. And when we are updating max 1, max 2 and max 3 will also be updated. But if it is like max lesser than max 1, then but greater than max 2, then max 2 max 3 will be updated. And if it is
Mhm.
only greater than max 3, then only max 3 will update, and we'll keep on updating the pointers
Yeah,
variable.
sounds good. Can you get started?
Sure. Yeah, so I'll first of all define and my output input will be the array. And I'll use like min1 and min2. And since it's tracking minimum, I'll like take the bigger number to initialize this. And for maximum, I'll take like the smallest number. And then we can iterate through the array, left to right. So whatever number I'm getting, if it is lesser than min1, then I will update my min1 to the a of I. Before that, my whatever was my minimum 1 will become minimum 2, and then we can update minimum 1. If not, and a of I is lesser than the min2 only, then I'll simply update whatever the minimum 2 is. And similarly, we will check for maximum product. So if numza is greater than max1, then we will update max3, max2 as well, and then update max1. If not, if it is only greater than max2, then we can only update max3 to max2, and max2 will become a of I. And if it's only greater than max3, then we'll only update the max3. So at the end of this, we will have, and at the end of this for loop, I'll have all these variables, which will give me like the minimum 2 numbers and maximum 3 numbers. And I will see, okay, multiplying with min1, min2 with max1, if that is, and multiplying max1, max2, max3, which is giving me like bigger number. So whichever is the biggest number, I'll return that. So at the end, I'm having like, I can have this yeah, I think this looks good.
Could you dry run with that example?
Sure. Yeah, dry. Oh, yeah, you want to dry run. Okay, sure. Let's do that first. Yeah, so first we will take minus 20. Initially, like these variables are initialized. So minus 20, we first update the minimums. So minus 20 is lesser than infinite. So min2 is still infinite. So it will still be infinite. But min1 will now have minus 20. And we won't go to this else if part now.
Mhm.
And it will check num_sci greater than max1. Max1 is negative infinity. -20 is greater than that. So max3, max2 will still be like negative infinity, but max1 will be, we'll update this to -20. And
Mhm.
this part we will skip. Then for the second number, which is -5, and so this completes one iteration. Now for -5, it will check whether -5 is lesser than min1. Min1 is 20, -20. So -5 is lesser than, or -5 is bigger than -20. So this will not
Right.
be, sorry.
Yeah, and I was saying you're right.
Yeah, -5 is lesser, bigger than -20. So it will check this one. Min2 is float of infinity. So this will get updated. So min2 will be -5. And now max1 is having -20. -5 is bigger than -20. So max3, max2 will still be max2, 3 will be like negative infinity still, but max2 will get updated to -20,
Mhm.
and it will become -5. We will skip this part now.
Yeah.
And we'll go to 10. So this completes
Okay.
that iteration. We will go to 10. Uh, so now our min1, did I update this? Yeah, min1 was -20, correct. So 10 is not lesser than -20. So this will not be there. It's not there, less than min2 also, 10. Uh, when it comes here, max1 is -5. So 10 is greater than -5. So it will enter this
Mhm.
loop. And now max3 will become -20. Max2 will become -5. And max1 will become 10. And it will go to 3. Uh, so these conditions will not be satisfied. Max1 is now 10. So even this is not going to be satisfied. So we will continue. This will not satisfy. Max2 is -5. So 3 greater than -5 will satisfy. So here we will update max3 to max2, which was -5. And my max2 will become 3. And we'll go to 5. This will skip because these conditions won't be satisfied. Our max1 is 10, so this block will be skipped. Max2 is 3, so 5 is greater than 3. So my max will become 3 and max2 will become 5. And we'll go to next number, which is 6. So this will again be, this is not satisfying because max1 is 10. And so we'll skip this. But max2 is 5. So 6 is greater
Mhm.
than 5. So we will update max3 to 5, and this will be updated to 6. So at the end
Mhm.
of this loop, max1 will be 10, max2 will be 6, max3 will be 5, min1 is going to be -20, and min2 will be -5. So if we take the product, I'll keep the max one in between. So if we take the product of these three, it will be 120 into 500,000. And if you take the product of these three, then it will be 300. So max is 1000, so we will return 1000.
Yep, that works. Yep. What would be the time and space complexities?
Time complexity will be O of n because we are iterating in the worst. We'll be iterating always till the end to see all the numbers. And space complexity is O of 1.
Yep. That looks good. I think I'm done with the questions from my side. Yeah. Over to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Amrit. So, Diwali, how do you think you did in the interview?
I think I did okay, but I took more time to think and respond. So I think at one point, yeah, like he changed the question too because I was still thinking what what approach would be. So I was not communicating so much.
Okay, Diwali, thank you. So, Amrit, what feedback do you have to give to Diwali?
Yeah, sure. So I've taken some notes, so I'll share that. So first of all, you did really well in the interview. So on two things you did really well: the problem solving and the time management. Because we completed the interview in 15 minutes, so you almost took 25 minutes for each question, which is the right time frame to solve the problems. From a requirement gathering perspective, for the first question, I think you missed the 1 to 9 part, but then you got that right and then it worked well. But for the second question, you were extra cautious and then you asked the right questions. You asked for the range, negative numbers, zeros, and then went ahead. So that was good. From a coding standpoint, you were fast and your code was good. It's looking clean and it works. So that is one good point. Your variable naming is also reasonable. For the second question, it was very impressive that you went to the most optimal approach in the first go. Mostly people prefer to do a sorting and then they try to improvise. But you directly went to keeping the maximum minimum variables, which is good. And what else is there? So from the coding part, your dry run is also good. You actually communicate with the interviewer during the dry run and make sure that he does not miss anything. So that's another good part that I noticed. So overall, it's a positive interview, and I would be strongly inclined if I were to hire you. That's it from my side.
Thanks, Amrit. The feedback was really helpful. So now over to the audience. Does anyone have any feedback? Okay, I think there are no feedbacks. Maybe I'll stop the recording now.